Hi guys. Happy Tuesday? It's Tuesday, right? The holiday weeks are always a super challenge. So thank you guys so much for popping in here with me. Um oh, Dawn on her she's popping we sound alike. She's popping in on her lunch break too. Oh, and Lisa, and thank you guys so much for stopping in. I appreciate your time. So I thought we would do a little, it's been a long time. Um, it's been a really, really long time since I have played around with any sort of like watercolor or distress ink or anything like that. So I thought that it would be kind of fun. From Ireland, Simone, hello. Um, so I thought it would be kind of fun to maybe play around with some of the distress ink techniques that I enjoy, and do some like backgrounds and some die cuts with them and see the different kind of ways that we can play with it to get different looks. Oh, Victoria's watching while working. That's totally we appreciate your support. Um, so you can use whatever kind of watercolor paper that you like. You know what? I'm gonna take me down. Um, you know how we do the picture in picture. Here I am in the picture. Okay. Hi, Julie. So this isn't going to be, Lisa, don't get too excited. It's not going to be like detailed watercolor. It's going to be more like ink smushing and just kind of playing around and having a good time. So I buy my watercolor paper. This is the Canson Monteval watercolor paper. I like this one. It is a cold press. I do tend to buy it. This is like the smallest one that I have to show you on screen. Because I typically tend to buy it. Let me see if I can snag one out of here. In the big guys. This is a 12 by 16. And so it's just because I get so much more out of it. And usually I wait until like that's when I do my orders at Blick Arts. I put in all, because I'm gonna have to pay for the shipping for the paper anyway, and then that's when I throw in like any like Copic refills that I need or new Copic markers that I want to get or anything like that. So speaking of that, they actually have a like they're having a Copic liquidation sale. Like they have like a mass overstock because some store closed down or something. I don't know. But I need to get over there and check that out. So when you have watercolor paper on a block, it's so that you don't have to tape it down. So it stays down when you're doing your watercolor, and then you feel like then you can pick it up. Since I want to remove mine, there's a little, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. There's a little part right here that you can see there's no adhesive on. There's no shine right here. And so then I just take a little palette knife and then I just slide it around to break that adhesive. And I just take it all the way around. And then that removes the paper off of our block. Okay. So here's kind of what I had the idea for the play session. So I wanted to do like a wet on wet technique. And then I wanted to do, I wanted to do a wet on wet. And then I wanted to do some ink smushing versus just painting it onto the paper. I wanted to do that as well. And then, smushing wet on wet. Maybe we could try some wet on dry, maybe for these birch trees. That might be, so you could see the difference. So let's start with just a little bit of experimenting. Okay. And then we'll get into the actual like making of the things. I do want to say before we get too far into the things that Pretty Pink Posh announced their help me. They announced their Black Friday sale today, and it's 25% off site-wide, which is amazing. So if you, as we've been doing these lives and stuff, has there been anything that you're like, oh, I'd really like to get my hands on that? Now would be the time, because everything's on sale. Not to mention they carry other things besides their own products. Like they carry, like Gina K has like the shaker foam. She carries that. All of her embellishments, so many great embellishments. If you like to make shaker cards, like now's the time to stock up on those things. So just something to keep in mind. I'm looking for just like my regular rainbow color of distress inks, because of course I wouldn't just have them all together. Now, would I, people? Of course not. What are we missing? We're missing a yellow and an orange, a carved pumpkin. Crackling campfire? No, it's too corally. Kelly, not sure if you'll read this, but thank you so much for the help on making me use my Copics better. Oh, well, you're so welcome. Press the like and thumbs up button for Kelly. It pushes the live out to YouTube and helps Kelly's channel. Okay, so let's talk about that, actually, because I am never, I don't know. It hurts my soul to be like and subscribe. I've never been that kind of person. But I have noticed that with me doing more lives, just like I had talked about before, in a previous video, there it is finally. Okay, so we have our red, which is pink. I prefer pink to red. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. Okay, we're good. And so the views, please tell me, please tell me if you saw my last two videos. If you didn't, I would like to know, because the views on those last two videos are unreasonably poor. Like there's like, and I'm not saying that it's poor for everybody. I'm just saying it's poor for my particular channel. Jessica from Eastern Ohio. I don't get to catch your lives much, but I've been watching you for years and love all the information short. You're from East Ohio. Okay, well, if you watch, you know, I'm from the Cleveland area. So wherever you are, you're within 4 hours of me. So yeah, so I'm not sure what's going on, but though, like, the videos again are absolutely tanking. And if you remember, like in the beginning when I was doing the honeybee videos and I noticed that my views were just tanking, I stopped doing the honeybee lives on my channel. And I just did them on the honeybee live, like on the honeybee channel. And then my views came right back up to where they normally were. And things were good for like a month or two. So I was like, okay, let me try. Because we're all about experiments, right? Because the algorithm says it doesn't punish you for going live. So I was like, well, let me try and see if I can incorporate them back in. So I started to do like one or two and it seemed to be okay. But now here we are. Okay, I watch all your videos, but what were the last two? Bonnie, great question. Thank you for asking. So the last two videos that I did were, there was one about like talking about a fall color palette. That's one I put up yesterday. And then the one right before that was about the shimmer relief pastes and the different ways to use those. They got like no traction whatsoever. And oh yeah, we did that one too. I'm so glad you said that, Ray, because there was one that I did with my little jelly bean, and that one didn't do all that great either. Come to think of it, we made a little shaker card for her girlfriend. All right. So now that we've talked a lot of business, I'm going to trim this down. Your videos come up for me because I subscribed and ding the bell so I don't miss out. I saw some of the channels I subscribed were gone on my channel and I had to resubscribe. Yeah, what YouTube, what are you doing to us? What are you doing to us? Why are you making it harder? Okay, I'm going to trim off just a little piece so that we can talk a little bit about the different techniques. In case you're, are a lot of you familiar with watercolor? I don't want to like teach you stuff you already know. Well, I mean, I guess it's always good for all of us to revamp. Okay, I'm drinking tea today instead of coffee because my tummy is questionable per usual. Okay, all right. So what we're doing, I'm going to do the ink smooshing first so that I can actually turn this over. Did you check your analytics? That gives a good education. Girl, I check my analytics all the time. Jennifer told me once, she was like, don't go in there and check your analytics. Like, that's none of your business. It'd just be breaking your heart. But I do. Maybe I should just take her advice. All right. I'm going to pick a little bit of a darker color so it's easier to see. I'm going to go with Villainous Potion. Okay. How's Jelly been since the fall? Julie, like, honestly, you would not even know that it happened except for the trauma that I'm carrying around from watching her fall down the stairs. If you guys missed those videos, my daughter was at my dad's house on Sunday, literally fell down an entire flight of basement stairs. And I just missed her, like grabbing her and watched her fall the entirety of the stairs. And needless to say, I thought the worst. It was terrible. It was terrible. Okay. So, I do need to paint my nails actually. I'm making envelopes with my envelope lunch while you paint. Sorry, I'm still terrible with watercolor. Oh, Melissa, thank you, by the way, for the red color combination. I wasn't sure what ones you were talking about. And I did see that you responded back to my comment. So thank you. Could be the time slot I'm in. Oh, I mean, it's not the lives. The lives people are showing up for, which I'm very grateful for. Thank you. I know your time is very precious. But it's the videos. So I am finally managing to sleep. Oh, Lisa at the orthodontist. Girl, don't worry about it. All right. So here we've smushed down our ink. Okay. If we just take our little piece of paper and we smush it into the dry ink, dry on dry, you're just going to get, let me zoom us in. I feel like that needs a sound effect, even though it probably doesn't. So here you can see we pick up a little bit of ink, but it's really a lot more texture because the paper is more textured. So we want to add a little bit of water. Now you can add the water to the puddle, okay, and then go in and pick it up. And again, you're still going to get quite a bit of texture because not both of them are wet. But I'm going to use the other side down here. But if you wet here and you wet your paper, then we have more moisture that we're working with, and we will get a softer blend. So here, see how we got all this texture, which I'm going to be honest with you. This is my preferred, but if you want a softer blend, more water is going to be your friend. Okay. So let me set up our little puddle here, and I'm going to back us back up. Jennifer does sound effects too. That does not surprise me. Okay, so now I just have a wide paintbrush. So if we do a wet on dry technique, I'm going to stay with the same colors. Okay. So that means a wet on dry means our paper is dry, but our brush is wet. And you do want to pay attention to here. Let me bring my water in here. So this is I think it's like a 1-inch flat brush. This is going to hold a lot of water. So the more water we have, the less control we have. The less water we have, the more control we have. So when I'm doing backgrounds, typically I want more water and less control because I'm going to be able to create softer blends. But when I'm doing like painting a flower, I want more control. So I use less water. Hi, Denise. So on a wet on dry, paper is dry, paintbrush is wet. We're going to pick up our pigment, and then we're going to be able to put this on. And depending upon how wet our brush is, see, and we're going to be able to get pretty smooth washes of color. So we can see how it's nice and soft here. Wherever you pick up is typically where you're going to leave the like your most ink. That's also true of the smooshing, like wherever its last contact with your well, in my case, my glass mat, which is also on sale, by the way, 20% off. Anyway, so wherever the last point of contact is where it's going to be the darkest. So now if we do, this is going to be my dirty water. Honestly, by the end of it, they both end up being my dirty water because I'm not that great. So now I want to take clean water and I want to wet the area. Remember, more water means less control. So this thing's going to do its thing. So now it's wet. Our paintbrush is wet. So this is the wet on wet technique. So I'm going to pick up my pigment here. And now here I can drop it in where I want it. And it's not necessarily going to be this super soft wash like we have over here. You know, we can just drop it in wherever we would like. And then we kind of let it do its own thing. And watercolors always dry back. So it'll kind of move around in the water itself. And then it basically, I mean, it just becomes whatever it wants to become, which I really like. I really like, because I find if I try to be too controlled, then I get frustrated with the results. So if I learn to let go just a little bit, I'm not like crazy. See, now look at, I already have 2 dirty waters. I am who I am. Then if you have this wet on wet, you can also pick up your block or pick up your paper and you can turn it to encourage it to flow a certain way. So now that we have all of those things, that we've looked at all of I think probably the different ways that we'll use them this week. Rebecca, thank you so much. That's such a lovely compliment. Hi, Brandon. Happy Thanksgiving week. So now that we've gone through the drier side, like wet on dry ink smooshing, wet on dry watercolor paintbrush, wet on wet watercolor paintbrush, wet on wet ink smooshing. These are the ones that we're going to try today and see what we can come up with. All right. And also, I don't even really like purple, but this is a pretty purple. Okay. So now I need to figure out, let me look at, so I would like to do one with the snowflake background. I have an idea for that. And then I would like to do one where we do it, the smooshing, and we have a lot of different colors and we cut the trees out of that, because I think that will be really fun. This one, maybe we would do the wet on dry, because we can use less water and kind of streak it. And that I think would be fun. And then maybe we'll just do those 3. Maybe we can combine them. Let's see how it goes. Okay. So let's start playing. I'm going to trim this down so that I have at least one section that is an A2 size card, because that's what we need, you know. And that I think will be the snowflake background. So what are you? I just trimmed off some. So this is 9. So let's go 4.5. Right? That'll be right in the middle. 4 and 4 is 8. Half and half is 9. Okay. You like how I do my math? That's me mathing. Okay. And then, so this will be just a little bit bigger than a regular card. 5.5. We'll be able to do something with these. So we'll have one card. This is a little, it's not a perfect A2. It's actually just a 1/2 inch bigger. Or I'm sorry, 1/4 of an inch bigger. But we're going to leave it like this while we're doing our painting. That way we can kind of pick and choose what side we want to trim off. I like that. And then here, we're going to do the watercolor on the trees. And maybe we'll do a little flat wash in the background. Could I use this for my flat wash? That's not a real piece of paper. I am multitasking, watching a live in a Christmas movie and having coffee with your husband. You are multitasking. Okay. So this is going to be an A2 size. Okay. This is regular cardstock. So I wanted to see, yeah, my little square, either or. I can do a little sky, I think, for my little trees. Or we could do it like this and have the design not go all the way up. Whatever, this will work. So we're going to do a little sky with this. Snowflake background, sky. And then this will do the trees. Right? Yeah, that sounds good. Okay. If we have to trim more, it's not like I don't have more. I'm just trying to be efficient. All right, so let's start with the ink smooshing for the sky. Okay. So no, you know what? I'm not. I'm going to do this as a wet on wet because I think that we can build a really pretty kind of gradient doing with several different colors. Do you remember the sky that we did recently? Where did I put my igloo card? This is the one that we did on the last live. And like we kind of played around with the different colors. I think that would be fun to kind of do a gradient background. Not a bunch of different colors, but maybe just a couple. So I think we'll use the blue and maybe we'll go yellow, pink, blue. Maybe we'll try that and see how it works. Now, the other thing when watercoloring, one should always have on hand, happy anniversary, is paper towels or a rag or something that you can blot your brush off on. Very important, very, very important. Okay, so now I am gonna smush these down. If you want more concentrated color, I don't, Lisa, but if it fails, Kelly had a chisel marker video. I could do that, I know, but I want to try the credit card watercolor. Oh yeah, Dawn did the credit card watercolor in one of her lives, which was amazing. And I did birch trees with the my chisel tip Olos, I think. Okay. So if you want darker pigment, you can use the re-inker, but honestly, you only need 1 drop. It's so concentrated. You don't need a lot. All right, so now we're going to take our clean water, cleanish water, whatever, and we're going to do, I want it to yellow to be at the bottom. So I'm going to pick up some yellow and I'm going to do a little stripe across the bottom. I clearly need more water. Do you see what happened there? So I'm going to go over here. And we still need more water. There we go. Sometimes, you know, when you're trying to make sure you don't get too crazy. So now we're going to have this really pretty kind of flat wash. And I'm actually going to do, I think, 2 right next to each other, because then I think we'll be able to fill in the whole thing. Come over here. There we go. Okay. Nice little flat wash. This is where all the cool kids hang out. I don't know about that, but here we are. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with the pink. And remember, we're having so much control over this because we are doing wet on dry. So I'm kind of going to work it over that yellow to help them kind of blend a little bit. And again, I'm going to do 2 layers. I am scared of the water today for some reason. There we go. I am a bright color person, so I typically, when I was learning, I would get very frustrated because watercolor is best learned in layers, and I don't like working in layers because I'm impatient. The chisel marker video. Lisa, I did do a blue and green version. Maybe just try searching trees, because I think that's maybe how I put it in there. All right, so now more water. We're going to do the blue. And again, we're going to overlap that pink just a little bit. Okay, and we have some pretty nice even washes of color. So I didn't tape it down, so you can see that it's kind of buckling over here. So that's okay. Now, I know I can see along this edge. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's the yellow is kind of like creeping its way up the side. So I'm going to just touch. See how it's absorbing that yellow? I'm just going to touch this to the side. Also, you can lift it up, wipe underneath it, but then you do want to make sure that you come across the back here because that moisture will sit there as well. Okay. And so now we have a really nice kind of flat wash sky. So now what if we want them to be a little bit more integrated with each other, right? We don't want just even kind of stripes, because I typically don't do even kind of stripes. So then this is when we do the wet on wet. So now I'm going to reapply my ink. I don't think I'm going to use the yellow for this one. Oh, I'm dropping stuff. Hold on. Now I got to wipe off my ink pad. Hopefully we're not too contaminated. So I'm going to use colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. Where did that lid go? Oh, all the way in the back. Pardon. Okay, here we are. Okay, so I'm going to choose colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, because then I don't have to worry about making brown. Not that making brown is always a bad thing, but that's not what I'm going for this time around. Okay, so I'm going to do pink, blue, purple, and probably some of this teal. Okay. I'm going to leave the yellow out, but I've already smushed it, so I'm just going to leave it there. So we can use our paintbrush and just paint all over our background, or you can use a mister And you can just spray all over your background, whichever one works, because this is a wet on wet. So we do want there to be enough moisture on here to move our pigment, but you don't necessarily want it to be what we called bubbled up. I will try to show you what I mean by that. Hey, sir. It's not your time. Okay. So when we have it wet, but it's not bubbled up, when you pick it up and turn it, nothing is running off. Also, it has a sheen on it. So can you see? It's pretty obvious that the paper is wet by Brandon, but it is not running all over the place. Now, what do we mean when we talk about being like bubbled up on top of the paper? I'm going to go back here. This, see how it's a full droplet? I don't know how much I'll be able to tip it before it runs out, but see how it's like a physical presence on the paper. Are you a singer? Do you like an old sing song? I am not a singer. I can't actually carry a tune in a bucket. But anyway, so see how this is like really bubbled up? We don't want that. Don't want that. Do want a sheen. Okay. It is 8, Denise. Okay. So now we have that. Just want to make sure everything is good to go. So now we can do either a wet on wet. Okay. So we can pick this up and then we would just, kind of drop this in wherever we would like it to go. I'm kind of going to do more of a random pattern. If you see any areas that are like getting dry and your pigment isn't moving, you can always hit it with a little burst of water to make sure the things are continuing to move. And then, so there really isn't, I mean, when you choose colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, there really isn't like I have to be careful not to mix, whatever. There isn't. It's like the easy way to create a background with no issues. If you want to create a background that has like rainbow colors in it, you do need to be slightly more conscientious. But it just depends on kind of what you're trying to make. So here, this very much looks a mess, which I am totally aware of. But if you want to move it around a little bit more, you can add more water. Okay. And then it'll kind of soften and bloom. Alternatively, you can go back in and move it. But I will be honest with you, this is where most of us end up muddying our stuff, because we can't see the outcome, and we want it to look the way that we want it to look when we're doing it, which I totally get because I am the same way. But that's not how watercolors work. You have to kind of let them do their thing. I do like a bit of a darker pigment. That's why I'm going in for round 2 and kind of adding some more. Nope, this one. See, I told you by the end we'd have 2 dirty waters. Alternatively, you could dry this down and then do another layer over top. That would also be perfectly fine. Okay. And what was the last one? The pink. I do like a lot of color variation. So oftentimes in mine, I will do like little splatters or things like that, so that like there's a little bit of pink in my teal and, so on and so forth. Oh, thank you. Thank you for encouraging the thumbs up. I do appreciate your support. Okay. So now this one, we're just going to set it aside. I know it's hard, but look at the ones that we did before, how beautifully these have dried back. We're going to let that do that for us. It's hard, but we're going to let it happen. I am going to take my paper towel. I'm going to find a clean section because you don't want to take like the yellow part to this because otherwise you'll transfer to yellow. Okay. Oh, Hockey, you weren't here for that. Yes, Pretty Pink Posh's Black Friday sale starts today. It's 25% off site-wide, and it runs through the 30th. Okay, so here we have some built-up water down at the edge. I'm just going to tap the side because I don't want to remove the color from the background. I just want to catch all of that extra water that is pooling. Okay. Same thing down here. I'm going to wipe this up before I bring in another piece of paper. See, and you can even see like on the back, it is wet. What bristles do you like on your watercolor brushes? Honestly, I am not a professional, Debbie. So I have a variety of watercolor brushes. I like the Black Velvet line that you can get at Blick Arts. So here you can see it's already starting to like smooth out and work together, but we're just going to set it over here so that it can do its thing. That is the one disadvantage to a wet on wet. You do have to wait for it to dry. You can heat it up with a heat tool, but I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think it looks the same. Just my 2 cents. All right, now let's do these trees. You know what? Maybe it would be fun to do the trees, like the little birch trees. You know, you expect them to be white, but maybe it would be fun to kind of do like some pastel-y kind of birch trees. That might be pretty, like just on one side. All right, maybe that for another time. Okay. So, but these ones are from Altenew, and I do like these ones as well. I recently started playing with alcohol inks and tried adding foil on top of for a marbled look. I'll definitely have to try your way now. So, Lisa, I have like 2 or 3 videos on that, the technique that you're talking about. Okay, so we're going to wipe this up, and we're going to do our ink smooshing. Okay, so I'm going to pick some pretty colors. Bye. Bye, Dawn. Thank you for stopping by. All right. So here, I'm just going to kind of like randomly smush them down. I'm going to do the peacock feathers. I'm going to do the salty ocean. And then I'm also going to do some of the mustard seed. Just in between. Okay. Now, I'm going to spray this. See how we're moving all together. And I'm going to spray this. You can see. And then I'm going to smush it down. And then I'm going to show you what it looks like when you just smush it one time and then pop it back up. So now here, see, because we've wet both of them, we have some pretty soft blends. And also a very true Kelly green. So I do like a little bit of a softer wash. If you're getting this, you know, this kind of where it's popped up and you don't love that, just go in, dab it with your paper towel. Okay. Now you can dip it back in as many times as you would like, as long as you know when you pick it up, wherever the last point of reference is, like here, see how it's bent? The last place it's going to touch is here. So when I pick it up, there'll be a line. So if you know how it's going to operate, then you can make better decisions. Okay. So I clearly don't want that green right in the middle. But I do like a lot of color variation. And now that they're mixing, I'm getting this. So I'm going to go over and create, hi, Tina. Oh, and hello from Houston, Texas. Hello. So I am going to go in over here where there's not as much water, but there's still ink. And I'm going to pick that up with that little bit of texture there. Again, I don't love a line right across, so I'm just going to pounce it down there. Oop, dropped it. And then I'm going to come over here to where we don't have as much water. And I'm going to add the texture there. So you can do a combination of the techniques to get the different looks that maybe you would like to do. Alternatively, if you are doing, if you're going along and you're like, wow, these really blended together and there's not as much delineation between the colors as I would like we have a pretty true green background here, then we can smush our things again. Okay, smush them. Where's there it is. Okay. And this time, I'm only going to spray down here. I'm not going to spray this as well. This is still damp. Okay. It's not wet. Like it's not, you can't see the sheen on it, but it's still cold to the touch, which means it's still damp. And so now I can go in and add that kind of distinctive color and a lot more texture. Once again, if it starts to get away from you and you're like, I don't love this, don't worry about it. Just spray it. It'll blend in all of the color and you won't have any of that texture that you see on top. So I am going to add a little bit of water just so I can kind of extend this out here. Okay. And then you can also, this is where, like we talked about, like you can do, not everybody likes the sprays and splatters. I get that. I do. I think it's an interesting texture to add. So because these are distress inks and they're reactive with water, we can do the kind of like some spatters. And then if you let them sit for just a second, you can see they're starting to kind of bleach out that color. But then if you go back in, clean spot on the paper towel, clean spot, then you can kind of pounce them and see how it will bleach it out, and we'll be able to see that like tealish blue color underneath. So I am very much a big fan of that. And you can make your droplets as big, like your bleach spots, as big or as little as you want. The littler they are, you're not going to be able to see them as well. The bigger they are, you'll be able to see them really well. So, okay. Just going to blot those up. Okay, so this is going to be for our winter trees here. Cut a couple of different ones out of there. And then, let me see. I might need to do another piece just for the birch trees. I think so, maybe. Okay, let's go back. This one is nicely drying, so we can see how smooth that is. And then we're going to do, it's still cool to the touch though, so it's not completely dry. Like it's kind of melded with each other. These are definitely softer up here. I like a white break, but if you don't, you could absolutely fill in the whole thing. Okay. So we have that. And then this is also completely dry. And we have this for and then we need to do the birch trees. So let me see if I have, oh yeah, see, I do. A scrap, scrap of watercolor paper. All right. And I should be able to get a couple of trees. I'm just gonna, I need to see the length of them. Okay. Why does smooshing never look that good? Probably, thank you very much for all of your kind words. It probably because you can't leave it alone. Because I've done that Tina, I have done that 100 times where I'm like, oh, I just keep messing with it. And then it never comes out the way that I want because I just won't leave it be and let the water do the work. Okay. So we can get probably 4 of these out of this paper. Maybe 5. Yeah, maybe 5. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure it was long enough. We're just gonna set these over here. Okay. So now for the birch trees, I know I'm going to cut them this way. So I'm going to do kind of like a dry technique. I think I'm going to do it in brown, honestly. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go, this is ground espresso. This is an experiment for me too. All right. So I'm going to add just a little bit of water here. I know that I'm going to cut them this way. And so I want my dry brushing to go this way. So when I cut the trees out, it's going left to right. So I'm going to pick this up. I'm just going to do some practice swoopies. Okay. And then I'm not applying any pressure. No pressure. And I'm just going to, we have too much water. That's what we have, but that's okay. Come back over here. Okay. We definitely have too much water on. So let me okay. Yes, Chark, is somebody getting tornadoes? I'm not going to add any water to this. I'm just going to pick this up and then I'm going to try again. Oh yeah, see, better. Can you see that? Swoop. See, now we're getting more of that dry brush look, which is what I'm going for. Well, that's what I was originally going for, but we'll see what we come up with. Now, remember, this background doesn't have to be perfection because we're die cutting out of it. So, you know, you're going to see what you're only going to see it on the individual trees. You're not going to see it as a full piece. So we're just going to create some textures and then let it go. Maybe I should have done it in gray. I didn't, but that might be something to look at in, okay. So now I'm going to hit, we've done all of our different techniques here. Okay. Dry on dry, wet on wet, smooshing, smooshing. And now we're actually going to turn them into cards. I think that things like this, where we sit down and we just play, are so important for us to, especially if you're in like a slump where you're not inspired. You could do this part of it and create all of these different techniques and backgrounds with different colors and everything else. And then just set them aside. Just to get yourself into the creative mode. So I did want to show you this. So this is the same Distress ink colors, but this is ink blended versus the watercolor. So you can see how soft this is when we add the water versus what the bold kind of color you can get with Distress inks on the side here. Okay. So I just want to make sure this is dry before I add any more ink to it. Dawn always says that the camera automatically like softens the noise from the heat gun. You'll have to tell me if that's true or not. So the reason I keep flipping it is because see how it's curling up? I want it to be flat. Okay. So we all know the plight of oh no, it scared your cat. I'm so sorry. I am using watercolor paper. This is Canson Monteval watercolor paper. So now here, I'm going to do my snowflake kind of background. Let me say, I just used it yesterday. Like, where could it possibly be? I have a bunch of different sticky mats. This is the first one that I saw. If you are a person who enjoys stencils, I would highly recommend a sticky mat. This is going to be difficult to have you ever added gold embossing powder using an embossing pen to give the look of marbling and veins? I have not. That sounds incredible though. I'm sorry, Rena, did I not answer your question? It is watercolor paper. All right, so this, see, because it's textured, sometimes it does have a hard time sticking, but hopefully once we get our little stencil into place. So you could go a bunch of different ways with this. You could go, you know, darker and let your snowflakes be lighter, you know, because that's ultimately what the stencil is masking off is the snowflake. So we're going to be filling in the background, but only if it'll stick. It might not. I might have to tape it. Watercolor paper typically does give me a little bit of a hard time. All right, let's see if we can tape it in place. It just is, it's a strong one because the paper is thicker. All right, there we go. Okay, so like I said, you could go in here, you can go over with a darker color here, and then our snowflakes would be lighter. I'm actually going to flip it. And if you remember, what was the other card that I did? It wasn't this one. These were the trees, but I did, oh, the tag card. That's what it was. These cute little tags from, so see this background back here where I just did the white pigment ink on top. I'm going to do that again on here. So it, like, this looks super cute on the craft. Highly recommend. But I am going to do it here. And honestly, you might be able to, like, you might just be able to smush it down like this. But no, it's just getting the stencil. It's not getting the, so we gotta bring in our dauber. All right. And you have to remember that it's not really going to look like much when you first start doing it because it's already a pale color, but just hang tight. Just hang in there with me. We will check it and see if it's worth our while or not once we do one corner. Okay, let's have a look-see. Oh yeah, see, it's very subtle. Very, very subtle. All right. So I'm going to switch from a finger dauber to a pouncer. I actually think Picket Fence is still selling these. And in fact, I think there may be one of their freebies for their Black Friday sale. I don't know. But there's the white one. They do work really, really well. And it covers more surface area than a finger dauber. So, plus I'm highly suspicious in looking at this that maybe I need to re-ink my pigment ink. Okay. What is your sticky mat, textured side up or smooth side up? I'm not sure which side I have up. Mine is textured side down, smooth side up. Let's see. I'm just going to pop over here and try another ink pad because I am very suspicious that I need to re-ink this one. Yeah, this is better. This is better. Okay. So let me close this one up before I dry it out even more. Okay. Now you could, because we're using pigment ink, you could absolutely do like embossing powder over this, you know, and create some shine with some metallic, or you could do solid white and then just the snowflakes would be colored. There's a lot of options there. I'm just kind of checking as I go to make sure that I'm getting everything covered. Okay. This would be easier to see on a darker base. But I kind of like it soft. I don't know why, like, maybe it's just me. The pastels, like these icy colors, feel more wintry when they're in a pastel kind of way. I think they do. Maybe I'm alone. Okay, I think we're good. Okay. So there's our little, we still have that beautiful watercolor, but then you can see all of those little snowflakes in the background. I'm going to take off my little tabbies. Is this grip mat better than the one from Waffle Flower? Has anyone used that one? Just curious. Lisa, I don't have the one from Waffle Flower. I have this one from Altenew because it came with my stamp wheel, honestly. And then I also have a grip mate from scrapbook.com. I like that one as well. Who else came out with one? When I worked for Picket Fence, they had a paper inking palette is what they called it. And that worked as well. It's all just photopolymer. So that's why it's sticky. It's just the same thing a stamp is made out of. Okay. So here's this background. I like that one very, very much. All right, now let's get ourselves set up for our die cutting. And I also pulled out, where did I set them? Over here. So I pulled out this. This is the Christmas holder edition set for all the different ones. But see, it has some snowflakes in here. I'm going to snag those out of there. I use the Waffle Flower grip mat in my Misty. That is the one thing that the Waffle Flower one has that I don't think anybody else does, is they sized them to fit into the Misty. All right, so I want this one. And I want this one. This one right here is actually made to be like to go onto the little candy, I think, or to be a little pinwheel, but I'm not going to use it that way. I'm going to use it as a third little snowflake so I can have 3 different sizes. And this little guy doesn't want to stay, doesn't want to go home. Okay. Gina K has a few different versions too. Does Gina K have a grit mat? I don't think I knew that. She's another one who's having another sale. I do have a sales page if you are so inclined to want to help support me. And I try to keep it updated. I'm still in the process of updating all of the Black Friday sales I even know about on that page. Thankfully, my sister is also helping me. But I have not gotten all of them up yet. So here we're going to do our trees. You know what, speaking of Black Friday, I know there's a lot of people who are going live on Black Friday, you know, for deals and different things like that. I was thinking maybe of doing a live on Friday, but not necessarily for the deals, maybe just for just hanging out and chit-chatting like we are now. I don't know. You feel like that's going to be too much? Let me know what you think. If you think you'd be interested in doing a live on Friday, I'm not opposed to it. I could do it maybe during Caitlin's nap time. Okay. Hi, Cynthia. Okay, so there's, I'm going to die cut those. This I'm just going to do out of white. Didn't we have just a little, yeah, I was going to say, didn't I have just a scrap piece of white? You know what would be really cool, and I don't know if it's possible. I have to look into it because I use Restream to do, like, for us to meet like this. Hi, Sharon. I'm happy you caught us too. But like maybe we could do like a Zoom call so we could see each other and talk live. Oh, look, there's my sister. Thank you. See, she did check for me. 40%. The paper pouncers are 40% off at Picket Fence. Yes, I know. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a great idea or not, but I would love your feedback. It is still like misty, rainy outside. Ugh. All right. Yeah, and I know some people intend to go like live all day long. I have no intention of doing that. But it might be fun for us to like work on some projects together or something. I'll have to look and see if I can do that. What do we think? No one needs to see. Lisa, listen, look at me. Look me in my face. Don't talk to my friend like that. You're not, that you do not have an ugly mug. You are beautiful. Don't talk to my friend like that. I don't like it. Okay. All right. Yes, Gina does have 25% off right now. That is true. Okay. I started to, I use OBS. It's fab and free. I'd love to do a live together with you. Oh, so is it like Zoom? Can we get on there and like everybody see each other? You don't have, nobody has to show themselves on camera if they don't want to, but it would give us an opportunity to kind of talk to each other instead. Or do you prefer the chat? You tell me. I'm open. All right, there's that. And I think I'm gonna have to cut some more. I would love to order the magnetic glass board, but do you know if it ships soon as I leave town for a much needed vacation on December 4th? So if you go in to order a glass board mat, please make sure that you take the coupon code so that you can get the 20% off. It's still, I think, Kelly Taylor 15. It's linked in all of my YouTube videos, but it is good for 20% off for right now. And I do think they are pretty good about shipping, and they're doing a bunch of free gifts. I think I can't remember if right now they're doing the free craft catchers, which, by the way, I am still using for my trash over here, and I love it. So they do have those as a free gift, and then they have the magnets as a free gift. So yeah, if you have had your eyeball on a glass mat, I love mine. Then it would be a great time to pick one up. Okay, so we have that. We have the trees, snowflakes for our snowflake. I think that's all that I need to die cut at the moment. I think it would behoove me to also cut some sentiments. So we could do these, we could heat emboss and then cut out, or we have the winter greetings, we have the merry, we have seasons greetings. Let's go with winter greetings right now, and then we will make a decision. What if you stagger the tree's bottom to top a little bit? Might there be more space? If you stagger the trees top to bottom, oh, you mean like put them in order? I think that, yeah, I think we'll still have room to cut them out. I think it'll be okay. Oh, hello, friend. Somebody cut this out of white, because this is the one I think I'm going to use on my snowflake background. And I'm not 100% sure what I want to cut the shadow out of, but I'm not opposed to also cutting it out of white. All right, let me switch that now that I'm doing, you would not believe how many times I'm making a video and I will like tape something down to a smaller piece of paper and I'm like, no. You need a bigger one. You need a big one. All right, so now we have this and this. Because we could always cut the winter greetings out of a color and then put it on a white background. All right. I love my glass mat. I just got the catchers and the set of magnetic stamps and pad holders. I like mine a lot. I've had mine for years. All right. So that and that. We'll get those two with that one. Yeah, this is what is this? Mint tape, I think. From scrapbook.com. This seems to work and last so much better than a lot of the other tack tapes I have tried. And I used to be like ride or die pixie tape because it was the only one I found that didn't rip my paper, but I am really liking this one. Okay, and then this little tiny snowflake business here. All right. Okay, let's do our die cutting. Who wants to come over and organize all my craft stuff so I can craft again? Well, if you're my sister May, you can group video chat on Messenger up to 50 people. I think that's free. Oh, like on Facebook Messenger? I would be interested in that. Like if we could add that. I was saying night to my grandson, where is the glass mat from? Oh, Tina, that's adorable. The glass mat is from Glassboard Studios. Okay. And it comes with magnets as well. You can get colored magnets too. I think when I got mine, I think I just got the white. Oh. All right. I have been using the potato chip on the bottom side, and look how much it's come down. Still not broken, so we're still using it, but it has come down quite a bit. Oh yeah, I did. Actually, that's so funny because I made a card yesterday using the fresh dye inks from Altenew, and I thought that to myself, like, oh, I wonder if they'll come out with a round one in addition to. But I don't know how many other people have round what am I talking about? If they have, how many other ones are like round bases? All right. I love the little stitch detail on these. Look how darling that is. So cute. And then I'm just going to move them right over so that I can cut a couple more trees out of what we have going on here. Maybe I should flip it around. There we go. And I do need to tape you, sir. All right, there we go. He's hanging off the bottom just a smidge, but I think it's fine. And then we'll do you up here. And then if you won't fit down here, you will fit up here. And that is fine. Okay. And I probably won't even use all 6, but Temu for the die cutting plates. No, girl, we can't shop at Temu. No. Literally everything on their website is stolen. We can't shop at the Temu. It steals from designers. The reason that it's 20 cents is because, it stole the stamp set that I designed and is selling it as a cheap knockoff. So yeah, we're not Temu people or AliExpress. They do be thieving from people, and we cannot support that. That cutting plate deserves a gold medal for going the distance. I agree. I mean, honestly, it's really hung in there a really, really long time. Okay. And I dropped one. Of course I did. Why wouldn't I? All right. So there's those trees. We're going to set this aside. And I never throw my pieces parts away because I never, maybe I might have to come back and revisit that for a second. And, just because I need just like a little bit. So rather than dumpster diving through my own trash, which I have done many, many, many times, I now just lay them to the side until I'm sure I'm done. All right, so now here, let's check out our little birch trees. See how they came out. Oh, look at how cute they are with their little texture. Look at that. Aren't they darling? I love that. Oh, that's fun. That is fun, fun, fun. All right, let's see if I can get 2 more out of this. I'm gonna do it down here. Okay. Maybe this way. Nope. Maybe this way. Nope. I gotta get the one that positions them in the right spot with the little branches. Like I need it to be snugged up against itself. I might only be able to get 4. That's going to make me sad, but let's try this one. Let's try that and see if we can get another. It might only be like a little half one, but that's okay. It can hang off the paper, right? We don't mind. The things I will do to not have to remake something. The lengths I will go to not have to remake it. Okay. Oh, I did. Were we talking about our crafting spaces? Did everybody see Lisa's post where she showed her bathroom craft room? I totally got a giggle out of that. I am glad that you are so dedicated to your own happiness that you are willing to craft just wherever you can find room. I love that. I love it. All right, so that's those. And then now this one, which we'll have to cut a couple of different snowflakes. That's the word I'm saying. By the way, this one that has not broke and is going the distance is the extended one from Spellbinders. It's the universal plate system. Melissa, it's in the it's actually in the honeybee group. Oop, that was loud. She posted it, I think, in the honeybee group. Okay. Just gonna wiggle these out of here. And then I don't think, there we go. I'll do my best to keep track of my dot, but I'm not making a lot of promises. I'm just being real. That's what a white gel pen is for. If I lose my dot, I will put it in with a white gel pen. All right. So I'm trying to think what colors I have of cardstock that would go with that wintry kind of background that we did. What? There we go. Hold that one in place too. Thank you so much. Okay. That would go with that wintry kind of background. A pink, a purple. I might have like a lilac color, which would be different and a little unexpected, I think. Nope. I want the shadows, not the words. The shadows, not the words, Kelly. Okay, there we go. And then the words. All right, so this is our, we could use teal, we could use pink, we could use purple. What do we vote for the sentiment? I also have some of my supplies in a bookcase. It's a Walmart bookcase. And it houses my items. My husband built me shelving for my actual stamps, but I do use my shelf for holding plates, my foils over there. On the bottom is all of my nail polish. All of my cards are sorted over there, thanks to my wonderful sister who puts in all the work to make sure that they all. All right. So we did that. We did that. Did we? All right. I think that's all of it for now. So let me move this out of the way. No, I just said that I was going to look up and I was going to get the pink or the blue. Didn't I just say that? What's wrong with me? All right. Oh, I do have this pretty teal. I think maybe that would look nice. Maybe I like a purple. Maybe I like a purple. What do we think? We have teal, a purple. Do I have a pink? this is, I think this is Puffy Heart from Altenew. That's cute. Okay, I like the pink. I like the pink best. I didn't even wait for you guys to answer me. All right. Winter greetings. And then we might be able to just stamp some of the other ones. Dependent upon yeah, man. Good job. And I think with the other trees, I might be able to just stamp them on. So we shall see. Okay. Now, we have all of our things. And I do need one more card base. So I got to trim that. What did I do with this? I have a hamper, but how will I know it's time to do the laundry if it's inside? Plus, where would my dog hide all her treats? Oh. Okay. So now let's start looking at how we want to put these together. So this one, here, I think we do the winter greetings here with the little pink letters. I think that's super cute. What's a magic mat? Oh, I have one of those. I'll show you. Almost fell out of my chair. Did you see that? I almost went down, caught myself. This is a magic mat. And so it's like a rehealable, it heals itself. And you cut into this instead of cutting into your cutting plates. Okay. Dogs are weird. I totally agree. Yesterday, Molly was just pacing around everywhere, and I thought Eric was going to lose his mind. All right. And then we'll do some little snowflakes around there. And I think that will be very cute. Where's my medium? Okay. Down this way, and then two little guys down that way, something like that. Okay. I think I like that. And then maybe oh, you know what? It's too fat. Remember I said we would trim it? I was like, why doesn't that look right? And it's because it's a smidge, it's a smidge long. All right. So let's line it up with our 4 1/4 and then trim off our side. Now we're an A2 size card. Okay. And then our little guys will go back on here. Everything should still fit pretty nicely, I would assume. Just maybe a touch more crowded, but that's okay. Something like that. Okay, so I think that's good for one card. Let's set that aside. And then do we want to frame it on there? Maybe I'll just frame it on white. Okay, and then we have this, of which we did. I'm just going to roll this a little. Okay. I just needed to lay. So then we have here. So we can do these, and then we can either do the birch trees. Like that. And do our sentiment maybe down here. This, I know it doesn't look right because there's a gap, but hang tight. We'll fix that. And do winter greenings down here at the bottom maybe. And then we have the little sunlight in the background. So that's not too, that's kind of cute. Or do we like the winter trees over here? I know that looks funny, but if we had a hill, that one would be further away. Okay, and then we could do like a little cluster here, and then maybe we could do a little Which do we like better? Do we like the I think I like the birch trees with the color in the background because they don't have any real color on their own. You know what I'm saying? Like they need the background. They need it versus that one's upside down. Okay. Or we could do like that. So there's 3, and then we could do like a combination. We could do a combination one over here. With like the other, like a little mix-up forest. I don't know. I think I do like this. So let's finish fleshing that out, and then I'll worry about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and a pencil if I can find one. They do have the slope dies, which honestly should be on their way to me. They should be on their way to me, but I don't have them yet. So I am going to have to make my own. So I'm just going to do just like a little rolling hill kind of thing. And then trim it out. So same rules still apply even when we're not fussy cutting an item. We still want to move the paper, not the scissors. Hold the scissors straight, especially when we're trying to get a round cut. Okay. And then I can come in here. If I can find my eraser, where will it be? Who knows? Because my children come in here. Oh, here, in this random bin of things. All right, and then I can just erase that line right there. Molly's running in her sleep. Okay. What is going on in the comments? What am I missing? There's there's clearly a conversation going on that I am not party to. All right, so now we'll do it like this. This will be our snow, and then we will have our birch trees here like this. And maybe I can do a little sun in there, and maybe I'll stamp my sentiment down here. Okay, I do like that one. And then this one, I think I'm going to I'll just flip this over. And maybe we could do some birch trees far away. And our pine trees. No, maybe we do the pine trees far away for scale. Like this. And then we can do our little birch trees over here. So, Roberta, I will have you know, I did not buy this for her, by the way. Somebody else did. My child received a, what do they call it? Squishmallow? That smells like cake and has like tie-dye and sprinkles on it. And that Squishmallow's name is Roberta. All right, so I thought maybe it would be fun to have like a white on white, but now I'm not loving it. So we are going to, what are we going to do? Maybe I can pick out do I have a light teal? Maybe we could do a light, it's not an ink blending, which I don't love because everything else that we've got going on has been quite ink blendy. But it will match what we have going on. But will it help my little trees pop? No, it doesn't. It doesn't help my little trees pop. It helps my little trees blend. And that is no good. So let's try a darker teal and see if that is better, but I don't love it. Okay. I am oh, you know what? We had this other side. I didn't even use this. Ooh, I have this whole other side here. How much hill do I have? I have quite a bit of hill, don't I? I can make that work. Yeah. Okay. Listen, normally I don't go back and start over, but we didn't make enough thingies. So now we're gonna, do I want to stick with the ink smooshing or greens complement is pink? All right, let's do pink, purple, kind of blue going on here. All right. And then I'm gonna let it kind of run down. What did I do with my, oh, there it is. I'm like, what did I do with this? So in order to get this moving a little bit more, I'm going to add some wet, just clean water down here at the bottom. And then it will help that, it will encourage it to move down. and I need to stop messing with it because I'm trying to control the water, and I've got no business doing that because I'm not going to be happy with my results if I do that. Okay. So now, you see how like we just did that like super quick, super fast? And then maybe we can... Did I throw my paper towel away? Did I get too excited and think I was done with my watercolor and throw it away? No, I didn't. I just don't know where I put it. Well, I guess we'll get a new one. All right. There we go. And I am going to, even though I don't love that, I am going to heat set this because everything else is done. Okay. Okay. So, I mean, really, what did that take? Like 10 seconds for us to like do that little bit of thing? And look at how pretty that is. I think it's going to be a great sky. And I'm refraining from doing all of the things I normally do, which is adding like perfect pearls to everything. So I truly am really branching out here. All right. I'm not worried about this part down here because my hill is going to cover it, remember? Okay. See? And I'm glad I didn't throw that in the garbage because then I would have had to have gone garbage picking to even get my stuff together here. All right. So here is this now. And we have a high hill, which is fine. And you know what? I actually think I might leave some of the green, like that you can see at the bottom. I might leave that there. I think it makes it a little bit more interesting. Okay. And now we can do, oh, see, look, yes, this is better. Okay. And a little guy. And a little guy. And then maybe one down here. Where's the end of my, so here, like that. And then maybe do the sentiment up there in the sky. I resisted the Better Press for ages, finally gave him 101 on the amazing sale. Yeah, the Better Press is, I mean, basically it's like foolproof. I mean, it does press into the paper, but it's basically like foolproof stamping. Because it's very, very challenging to mess it up. All right, so we can maybe do more birch trees over here because I think I'm going to keep them all pretty clean. I'm going to do the winter greetings, I think, over here. No, maybe over here, maybe in the sky, maybe on the bottom. Okay, we might have to die cut that again. Okay. What about this? This on the bottom, maybe? Let's try that. Because it does match what we've got going on here. And I do like a teal. And then I need... Are we using the same set? I guess we are. No, I think I could stamp the other one on there and it would be fine. So I'm just going to cut this out of this. Yeah. That's what I'm doing. Okay. This is how I also talk to myself when you guys are not here and I am just by myself. My sister is on vacation this week. So she came over here yesterday so that we could kind of go over some of the things like on the website that she could help me with. And so she said, I don't even know if you guys can see my chair back there. Can you see it? You probably can't. I have a chair right back here, which is also where my little jelly beans hangs out. And so my sister hung out with me in my craft room with her, where she put her little laptop on a TV tray. And she hung out with me. So I had like I had an extra special guest. And then my daughter totally guilted her. My nephew is her son is in town right now for the holiday. And so she was like, oh, I actually put, food in the crock pot. And he had taken her car. So I was going to drive her home when I picked up Jelly Bean from her. Sorry, it sounded like there was a car door. I think this will be okay. Or should we switch it? Nope, I like the pink over there. Okay. I think it's okay because of the green trees. I think that. So anyway, I picked up Jelly Bean and I was going to drop my sister off at home. And basically Jelly Bean guilted her into staying, like bringing her crockpot meal that she made back to our house because Jelly Bean was upset that she wasn't going to get to eat dinner with Aunt Michelle. So yeah, she guilted her right into it. So this is this is this. We're going to stamp that one, I think. So maybe we'll do the Let It Snow. Maybe we'll do the Let It Snow. And then these are extra doodads. And then we have this as well. And I do think that I want to mat it. That's maybe something else that we could do to kind of switch up, not to this one, but maybe to this one. Okay, so let's start. My jam for crafty stuff lately has been Vinted. I don't even know what that is either. Tina, help us. What is Vinted? Okay, I am going to trim this down just a smidge so that I can mat it on that pink. Okay. There we go. I'm just trimming off a little teeny tiny bit. Just so it has a little mat. And then, okay, so let's start putting this one together because we already know what is working for us. Vinted is like eBay. Oh, you love my little jelly beans voice. I know, I do too. We watch videos. I try very hard to watch a Nana video a day because I am very conscientious of the fact that my grandmother passed when I was the same age Caitlin is now, and I have no memories of her, and I want her to remember my mom. So we watch Nana videos pretty often. And the other day we went like way back. And it was a video of my mom, but with Peanut as a baby. And oh, look at. I lost that dot, but then this one's still stuck in here. All right, we're not dotting our I's. That's not how we're working today. Okay. But yeah, it was so funny to hear his sweet little baby voice, because while he does not have a man's voice yet, it definitely is not a sweet little baby voice anymore. Okay. I'm just poking out all my little pieces here. Okay. There. You buy and sell your stuff secondhand. Oh, interesting. So that's, I think, how eBay maybe. Well, no, I don't even know. Was the stuff secondhand on eBay? I guess maybe. I don't know. Around here, the go-to is to sell it on Facebook Marketplace. But I have to tell you, after selling a few things on Facebook Marketplace, because people literally never show up and it's a giant pain in the butt. And I'm also very conscientious of the fact that there's certain things I am very privileged to have that other people are maybe don't have as much access to. I typically just give away my stuff free on Facebook, but I won't give them my address until they tell me they're on their way. All right. I wish I had a bunch of videos from my dad to show your daughter. Yeah, it is a hard thing, and we are very blessed to be in a time where technology allows us to hang on to those little bits and pieces, and of course I have, which is, I don't know, maybe it's morbid, and I only think of that because of the job that I did for years, but like, I have 2 voicemails from my mom, but I also have one in there saved from my husband. I have one saved in there from my dad, because like, I know there's a chance at some point that may be all I have. So I am conscientious of those things. Okay. I do like this pinky purple. This is Puffy Heart. Okay. And now these are just going to be placeholders for us so that I can get my larger snowflakes in place behind them. There we go. This go a little bit more over. Okay. Our local police station has an eBay or a Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, like the little spot that you can pull into. I always do no contact. I'm a porch pickup girly. But mostly I do that because I'm not really worried about like any money either. Like, I'm not making any money off of it because I am just giving it away regardless. So, all right. There's that. I don't know if I'm going to. I'm doing my best to finish them, but I might have to go before I can finish them. I hope not. I know there's a lot of conversation, and I love that we're all chatting with each other, because the community is the best part about this hobby. But can we get a general consensus on if we're getting together on Friday? If you're watching on the replay, please also leave it in the bottom description. I just want to slide this kind of up under there. There we go. Okay. Here. I'm going to go here. And then that way I can take this one over here. There we go. Okay. Okay, Kathy's a no for Friday. I appreciate that. Would Lisa's in. Roberta, I mean, usually I would say probably around the same time, like 2 o'clock-ish, 2 o'clock-ish. All right. So now we can pop up our little sentiment here. Oh, Hockey, I don't blame you at all. Like, if you have family, then yes. Oh, snuggle time. I would not want you to miss snuggle time. Okay, well, I will kind of monitor the comments and see if there's more interest in that. If I'm going to do it, I will try to do it like I did this one, where I like pre-scheduled it and you could see that it was there and you could get notified for it. So that way you'll know yes or no. You can do a live but not a Zoom. Oh, Cynthia, I hope you feel better. Being sick's bummer. Ooh, getting to meet the puppy on Friday morning. I remember when we got Emma. I was so excited. And then right on the heels of that, remembered why I always got dogs that were a little bit older. Because she was a wild one, man. All right. Oh, good. Okay, so that's 7 p.m. for you. Knitting club Friday nights. I love that you're in a knitting club. That's fantastic. All right, so we're going to go here. I'm just setting it here. I'm not pushing it down yet because I need to make sure it's straight. Bye, Tina. Okay. Here we go. And then this one. I know for sure I'll have to do the extras after I won't be able to do the extras. So make sure, even if you watch the live, come check out the edited video when that goes up, because it'll have all the extras in it. All right. So now we're going to do this one. And this needs to get trimmed. I'm going to trim off this side, actually, where that yellow kind of absorbed. The reason that I have to go, like I have to be conscientious, is because it's dance day. You know what? I asked my sister this. I bet one of you will know. What movie is it from? Or song is it from, where they do the dance? What is that? My sister and I couldn't come up with it yesterday. It was very frustrating. All right. Look how pretty this is. Like, we didn't even intend to do that. So pretty. Okay. This way, Kelly. Yellow on the bottom. There we go. Oh, you're in Alberta, so you already did your Thanksgiving. When is Thanksgiving in Canada? All right, so I think if we do, maybe we could do a couple, because remember we decided we were going to do some in the background, or some, we were going to do all 5. So maybe we'll do some behind the hill. I'm going to trim it right here. And then that way we can maybe make it look like they're kind of like stepping down. You know what I mean? They're getting further away from us. I appreciate you trying anyway, Lisa. I'm going to have to look it up. One day it's just going to like randomly, it'll be 2 o'clock in the morning and I'll be like, oh my gosh, it's from blah, blah, blah. And I'll suddenly remember it. All right. So now we'll put our little hill here and then we'll do our tall, turn it around, tall trees. Like, so those are kind of back. I think I would like them better if they're, there we go. And then we'll do 1 and 2 like that. So it looks like it's a little foresty. Hum it to Google and she'll tell you what song it is. Really? Well, I can't sing, but I'll give it a try. Okay. We always set a potty timer for Jelly Bean using our Alexa, and which she never thinks it's a potty timer. She always thinks it's a party timer. Is it in the Fall Out Boys song? Is it in the Fall Out Boys song, Denise? I was a big fan of them for a long, long time. But unfortunately, they I went and saw them in concert, and it was the worst concert I've ever seen. They literally just stood on the stage, and it sounded exactly like the CD. There was no entertainment in that show whatsoever. All right, so now putting this one up here, see, and he's kind of coming off the page. He's going to look closer and bigger. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get its attention, Lisa. Okay. That's actually cute. Thanks, Melissa. You sound like you didn't have a whole lot of faith in me. All right. So there's that. And then we'll do these 2 over here. Gotta make sure I get the little branches. And we'll put this one. Nope. We want to put this one a little further back. Okay, we'll put this one here. And then, okay, so I want you to see what happened. I got glue there because I put it down first. But there is a way to fix that. And it's not touching it while it's wet. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Let it dry. Don't go in there with your dirty, inky fingers and be rubbing it. Okay. And then we'll do this one here. Okay, and then we have like this nice little gap, which is so cute. I'm going to go in and I'm going to put a little sun right in there. And I'm going to do it with my marker. So here, I'm just going to put this little tiny sun. I'm careful not to touch my hill. Okay, there. See, now it looks like a sunrise or a sunset, depending upon your vibe. All right, touch your glue to see if it's dry. It has to be dry. Search around your desk to see if you can find where your kids put your things. Okay. Adhesive eraser to the rescue. Don't rub it with your finger. See, and it doesn't pull up your paper. It doesn't, it just takes the glue right off. Okay. There we go. Okay. So now I still got to trim it up top and along the sides. Okay. And then I can put it in to my Misty and stamp my sentiment. So look at how cute that one is. I have been on Craft Roulette. I've actually been on Craft Roulette twice. Okay. Alrighty. So let's bring this over here. And what are we going to go with? I think we're going to go with Let It Snow. And so we can do it up here, or we could do it down here. We could do it here above this. I don't really like a center sentiment. That's just me. All right, like that. Maybe down here. I think that this would be maybe I stamp it and then die cut it. Snow. Let it snow. Maybe I don't like the stacked. Okay, this might be oh, Teresa Calvert is very, very talented. She is very, very talented. All right, so I'm not married to a sentiment on this, and I don't want to stamp something just to get it done and then regret it. So I'm going to leave it. Here, so I think what I'm going to do is see, so we have like a full card here and we have a full card here. I think I'm going to trim this one down a little and then pop up the actual scene. Does that make sense? So I got to get it right though. This is 5.5 by crooked by just under, so I'm going to cut it to 3.5 is what I'm going to cut it to. Okay. Just so it's even, because I think that top part is not. Okay. And then 3.5, 3/4 of an inch. 5.5 would be 4 3/4. Math. Okay. So then I think if we build the scene on this little thing and then we could pop it up and then we have the white border. And I do like that. I kind of wish I would have put a white border on this one, but I didn't. We might have to revisit some design elements on there. But nonetheless, we're moving on. Okay. I think I actually like the lighter portion of the sky. So I think I'm going to go with that instead of with that. I'm going to go with this. It is a Bob Ross card. I love Happy Little Trees. Oh, Roberta, please do tag me. I love a blue card. All right. So I will have to zhuzh these up. Oh, dropping stuff. Okay. Glue that onto there. Oh, I got glue on my shirt. Okay. And then we have our hill here. So, yeah, I think I'm going to keep that part of it this way. Okay. Up a little higher than that. There we go. Okay. And now we'll have to trim these as well. It's been, I had quite a bit of fun playing around with these distress inks. It's been a long time since I kind of was just able to play and see what came out of it, you know? All right. So here's our little scene now. It is a little shrunk down, but I think that that's okay. So this is one of those ones where, like, even if you just had like one little leftover tree, you could like put your little Charlie Brown tree out there. I miss your story time. I think I still do tell stories for the most part. They're maybe just not as involved. I don't mind if they hang over, so that's fine. They're mostly just like about my kids, or like before, sometimes I would have stories about my job, but now I don't have stories about my job unless, I mean, I do, but they're about crafting. And then people don't feel like when I'm talking about crafting, I'm telling stories. But that's my job now. That's my job now. So, do I just want to use, maybe I'll just use those. Maybe I'll stack them and I'll just use those and I won't use the shadow. Okay. What kind of glue are you using? I am just using the Honeybee Be Creative precision glue. All right, I'm going to take this off so I don't accidentally get glue on the background, and I'm going to start putting down my trees. Lisa, I saved you to my watercolor playlist here on YouTube so I can practice what you taught us. Oh, fun. I do have playlists on my channel as well. So if there's ever something like you're specifically looking for, you might be able to find it that way. Okay. I'm sleeping. Being sick this year screwed my video. Oh, you don't mean that I haven't been telling stories. You mean, unfortunately, you haven't been able to watch them. Well, I'm sorry to hear you've been sick. That is most unfortunate. I hope that you are on the mend soon. These feel like very Jen Shirkus cards to me. Like, because she's all about the ink smushing and the texture, and she's so talented. I am teaching at Crap on the Cape next year in March, and that's the event that she runs. And so I am very excited to be able to see her. I have not seen a lot of my friends in a very long time because of my my crippling travel anxiety. But now I have medication that I can take to keep me from losing my mind while I'm traveling. Thank you, Kathy, so much. All right, so there's that. And then we're going to glue these together. I got to get all these pokey bits out. And then I will, for sure, finish adding the missing pieces here. And that will be in the edited version of the video. Okay, so let's stack. Oh, I got to pop these ones out too. Kelly, what are you doing? I'm giving up before the job is done. I've been working on a watercolor birthday card and I keep forgetting some of the parts to do, like wet and wet techniques. Girl, we're all just learning. So I'm sure that they will be excited to get your card, whether it's on time or not. Yeah, I am glad that I finally found something that will help me when I'm traveling as well. um, because the anxiety was no fun. Zero fun. So Lisa, my anxiety, I don't mind sharing it all. Hopefully it helps somebody else. My anxiety is the most difficult type of anxiety to treat because there is no inciting incident. So I was never in a terrible car accident. I was never in a plane that almost crashed or any of those things. There isn't any real reason for my travel anxiety. But as I have gotten older, I just have anxiety in general uh, that I didn't have before. Like, just like we were talking about earlier, like after Jelly Bean fell. Yeah, like I just relived that all night long. I could not sleep. I was terrified that like we missed something, that something was going to happen to her in the middle of the night. Like I was just like worst case scenarioing it. So it was, I just have more anxiety in general now that I am older. I don't know if that has to do with, um, like perimenopause, or if it is just, my general psyche has changed more. My ex-husband had told me once that he thought my anxiety got worse after we had Peanut, which I guess would make sense because now like my literal heart is walking around outside of my body. So I do have a therapist, and I am on medication. The problem that I had with my anxiety meds was that I am prone to migraines, and so all of the SSRIs would give me crippling migraines. So I could not take them. So we actually ended up going with like an old school medication that is also used as migraine treatment, in addition to treating anxiety, and that I have been on for over a year and does seem to be working pretty well. It does make me very sleepy, and so that is probably the most challenging thing because I get aggravated with myself because I've slept too long, or I can't, wake up and get done the things that I need to get done. So I actually recently talked to my doctor about changing my prescription to a lower dose to see if that would be better. And so far, so good. We just started doing that like a week or so ago. So I don't have any real input on can't cross big bridges anymore. Yeah, bridges are absolutely part of my anxiety. Bridges are terrible. We in Cleveland, we have the Guardian Bridge. I cannot drive that, not even as a passenger. And when Mom was sick and she was downtown in the hospital, there's no way to get to downtown Cleveland without crossing the river. And but I could not drive the Guardian Bridge, but I did find a way around by another little metal bridge that was much lower to the ground, and that worked for me. I actually think I like this a little bit better up top, but then it covers up my trees. I don't like that. So maybe this way, like this. One to the left, one to the right. That's a little bit better. Okay. So yeah, it's not super fun. But like then there's other times, like when I was going down to my sister and I were going down to see my mom in the hospital, and we were on our way down there. And that's when her doctor called to let us know that her cancer had spread to her bone marrow, and basically their recommendation was that she come home on hospice. I got that telephone call while I was driving, and so we like pulled over on the side of the road, but then I drove. I have driving anxiety as well. And I drove the rest of the way to the hospital, and I don't even remember it. I wasn't anxious at all. So I guess when your nervous system is taken over by something else that is more awful than your anxiety, you're better able to cope. I don't know. I guess your brain can't be devastated by two things at one time. Okay. Over further. There we go. Okay. So, like I said, I am going to go through and add in all of the extras, figure out a sentiment for that one. Well, see, maybe he knew something was up, Kathy. I'm telling you, bridges are scary. So, I appreciate your guys' loving support. You're so kind. So here's what we were able to make. I think we did pretty good. So we did the ink smooshing, the wet on dry. The this one was also wet on dry. So two wet on dries. This was a wet on wet. This was ink smooshing on the like a little bit on the drier side. I think that they are all very pretty and unique. I hope that this like gives you guys some ideas, to kind of play around with your stuff. So let me bring me back. Here I am again. Hello. So let me see if I can get them all in the screen. We'll do what we can. But I know that I appreciate Pauline's sentiments are beautiful. I love their stuff. So thank you guys for joining me. I will, like I said, I'll zhuzh them up, and then I will share them in the edited video. I also still plan to have an edit or have a video this evening. We'll see if that works out because, holidays and children and all those things. Yeah, so I think that is it for today. I will be looking in the comments and stuff to see what the input is about Friday. I know that it's a busy day and there's a lot of people going live. I'm open, but I'm not, it's totally okay if that doesn't work out for everybody as well. So, all right. Well, you guys have a great rest of your day. I'm going to go take my little jelly bean to dance class, and I will see you later. All right. Bye.